on that. If leaders are born or are trained, then we'll look at leadership styles or leadership type, the various leadership styles. We'll be privileged to look at about 9 of the leadership styles, and then how we can become effective leaders. Then we'll look at some watchwords, some very important words that every leader should not forget. Then we'll look at management, leadership and management. Who is a leader? Who is a manager? And then maybe we'll look at the district assembly concept. Briefly, how we can get the leaders at the district assembly, who are the leaders at the district assembly, who are management members at the district assembly. We'll look at all those ones. So we'll look at the definition of leadership from 2 different authors. He said leadership is the ability of an individual, group, or organization to lead, influence, and to guide other people, other individuals. I want us to look at just 2 words, lead and guide. A very watchword I want us to look at, because at the end we have to look at a working definition for leadership. When we see another author, McKinsey also says leadership is a set of behavior used to help people align their collective interests to execute strategic plan and to continually renew an organization. Looking at his definition, there is a watchword I want us to look at, a set of behavior and strategic planning. Looking at these 2 definitions to help us to really know if we are talking about a leader, we are talking about somebody who must take the center stage, somebody who must guide, somebody who must help us in the process to be able to organize and also strategically push an agenda through. And coming to our local setup, anytime we hear of leadership, one thing comes to mind: a pyramid and somebody at the top of the pyramid who have power, who can decide, who can make things work. Those people, we have seen them, or we have put that title on them, and we are always give them that recognition as leaders. Looking at the picture, one in front, the others who are following him, and they are in alignment just because he is supposed to help them achieve one particular purpose. And when you come to the leaders are born, some also believe leaders are trained. To you, as a participant, I don't know your notion about who a leader is. Are leaders born or they are trained? Someone should give me just one idea. Is they are both. Okay, leaders are born, and you can also be well trained as a leader. The University of Illinois made a research in 2014. In that research, they came out that they have seen that genetically, leadership, 30% of people are born leaders, and 70 learn to become leaders. Somebody will say, genetically, it means naturally there are people who are leaders. They have not been trained, gone through any training in leadership, but when you see them at the community level, their attitude, their behavior tells you that no, this one is a leader. And when we come to our community settings as a civic society, one thing that is easy, or one thing that works, is you identify natural leaders in our community. As we are aspiring, some of us, to contest and become honorable members, one thing that our mind should, any community or the community you are, you have to look for these people. For you to be successful, you need people who are natural leaders, people in the communities who have played certain role in the community, and the community have given them certain recognition. It's not an assemblyman, he's not elected, he's not appointed by anybody, but when there are programs in the community, the role they play, naturally, you know that this one, it can help you. When I take an organization like Plan Ghana, when they go to any community, they look for volunteers. And they look for people who are natural leaders in the community, people that want to help, want to solve the problem of others, not because they must be paid to be able to do that. And when identifying these natural leaders, there are some qualities that you can see. You see that one, they are excellent communicators. They are not afraid to take decisions. And in taking decisions, you see that these people want to empower others. They may not be highly educated, but the small they know, they want to bring others into that light. When you see all this, you know that no, this one is a natural leader. They have vision. They are always aspiring to places. Sometimes you go to certain communities and they will tell you, this person wants to contest for this position, or this person is contesting for this party position. You ask yourself, what is his level of education? But you see that there are people who are not afraid to take decision. They are not the decision phobia type. Before they take one decision, it will take them 20 years for them to decide on what they want to do. You see those qualities in those people. There are people who adapt quickly to new situations. If things are done in one way and within a short time there is a change, some will fight the new change because they are not ready to accept change. But people who are natural leaders are ready at any time to adapt to new situation, and also they are great problem solvers. People who have emotional intelligence, they're able to control their emotion. When lawyer was speaking, he made mention of emotional intelligence. You should not let people know how angry you can become as a leader. Sometimes in a way there is a statement that where you are now, you are angry on a situation, but you are just controlling yourself. You can go home and make all the noise, but in public as a leader, that emotional intelligence, being able to control your emotion, is something you should know how to do. You should be a time manager, somebody who is strong, with strong moral compass. You're not the one that at your zips are very weak at any provocation. The zip is down, the skirt is down. When these signals are reflecting, are being exhibited, people know that no, this one, there are question marks, integrity issue. You cannot lead. So when you want to get people around you as team members, you look for all these qualities. Lifelong learners, they are ready to learn. There is also a statement that says, you stop learning. The way you stop learning, you stop growing. So as human being, there is always an opportunity to learn new things. You should be somebody that should be trusted with loyalty and also very responsible. So in our communities, getting people to help us in the course of our campaign and also in the course of we being able to take up leadership. Leadership is about bringing people in alignment, bringing people together. And we have some leadership styles or leadership types that we'll be looking at shortly. We have the transactional leader. That particular leader always, at any time, okay, I'll come to them. Transformational leader, servant leader, democratic leader, autocratic leadership. We have the bureaucratic, laissez-faire, visionary, and the charismatic leader. All these leadership qualities are among us in our community. And sometimes, or most times, we exhibit more than one or two of those leadership qualities. At the end, we'll look at, we are talking about a transactional leader who fits into that particular leadership. When we talk about somebody who is a transactional leader, somebody who is always ready to use reward and punishment to get his team members to work. When you come to the sports sector, we hear of always winning bonus. You have been paid to play, but the leader or the country is giving you an offer that when you're able to score your first match, this is something to entice you to be able to give of your best. So transactional leadership style have to do with enticing our members to give off their best. And when we look at the second leadership, which is the transformational leader, one of the leadership styles we should always look at people who are ready, who give opportunity to their team members, who give opportunity to people around them to become useful, who takes people who are nobody, transform them so that they become somebody useful to the community. This leadership style is one leadership style we should look at. Anytime you see somebody who is operating in transformational leadership style, you will notice that somebody who is very creative. He always wants to do something new. He's goal-oriented. He faces challenge. When he sees challenge, he sees opportunity. Some people see challenge and they see obstacle. By a transformational leader, anytime he sees challenge, no, this is an opportunity he can make use of. There are people who are role models. There are people who have the enthusiasm. They always have energy and they want to move on. They are mentors. They make sure they get people around to take over from them. And also, there are people who are very optimistic. They have clear vision. When they want to do something, they know what they want to do, and they go in all for those things. We will look at their characteristics. I want to move quickly to the next leadership skill, that is servant leadership. In the 1971, Greenleaf Robert came out with who a servant leader is. Before you want or you become a leader, he believes that it should be somebody who the people have seen that you want to. You have taken steps serving. You are taking steps providing service. When you come to the community level, the first year we notice now you want us to vote for you as an assembly member. And we look at your life and you have not contributed anything to the community. Most people will look at people who are servant leaders, who when they push them and they go ahead, they will not become masters on them. There will be people who will be thinking about the good of the people. Currently, servant leadership skills or leadership style. Let's find out from ourselves. Do we have servant leaders? When we vote for people or we put people in power, do we put them purposely to serve us, or we put them there to become our Lord? So servant leadership is one important leadership skills. And any servant leader, when you see a servant leader, there is one thing you see. You see that this one is a humanist. It's somebody who puts human being at the center of everything. When somebody is a humanist, or humanism is a philosophy that talks about putting the welfare of the people around you. Let me make an example. Let's assume you are in a church setup and there is some money and want to build a chapel or want to do a new development. And we have somebody, a young 18 years old who have qualified, passed well to go to the NCCE training or to go to the university. The question is, are we going to use the money we have gotten, maybe through a fundraising, to support the little young one to build, who is brilliant but poor, the family cannot support that person? So servant leader should be somebody who look at the human being as the main and the most important thing. That investment should be done to that person than doing an investment to a God maybe you have not seen anywhere before. You look at situation, we do investment to the supreme being, the supernatural, more than we see in human beings. You go to families, you have members in those families who goes to church and they are offering alone. But somebody is around them, maybe that night you will go hungry, sleep, and wake up. So when we are talking about leadership, we are talking about people who should be servant leaders, people who put the people they are serving at the center. The people are their priority, not themselves. when they vote for them and they go into office, they are people who want to serve, who want to make sure anything that is good for their people, they fight for them, but not for themselves. We have the democratic leadership style. That particular leadership style does something beautiful. In any decision, they make sure all team members are involved. They come to the drawing board, they discuss and take decision. They are not the autocratic type that decide and is final. Nobody is given the opportunity to contribute to their discussion. So the democratic leadership style is also one good leadership style we should adopt as leaders that are youth leaders that are going to make impact. If the people are involved in the decision process, it's easy for them to own the decision and also to support the implementation. But if you carry the decision and you impose it on them, that's why in communities, sometimes communities make bylaws. The assembly makes bylaws. They don't involve the members of the community. Like what's happening currently, you'll be there, then Parliament have passed a law. We have our MPs who are representing. Hardly will any MP come back home and discuss decisions that Parliament is taking with the constituents and receive their view to be presented on. That's what they are supposed to do, but you don't see it. And sometimes you go to the assembly level too. Some of our assembly members also fail in doing that. So in a democratic leadership style, you have to get close to the people, discuss with them. When you decide, it becomes binding because they are part of the process. It's difficult for them to refuse. The autocratic leader is the one, he have authority, he have power. When he decides, it's final. He will not take the view of others. It's also another leadership style. It has its good side, at the same time it has its bad side. There are certain people you need to push the agenda through for them to move with you. But if you give them the opportunity, they will continue to pull you back, and what you want to achieve, you will not be able to achieve. So as a leader, when we know all these styles, we will be able to implement them without difficulties. It will not be adopted to just one of the leadership style. Every situation will demand how or the skill you should use in finding solution to those problems. Autocratic leadership style have to do with those that use ultimate authority and power over others. Because they are there, they have the power. They are managers. What they decide is final. You don't have a view. Those people use that authority in deciding for you. And when we look at, most times we confuse the word power and authority. We conclude that power is the same as authority. But looking at the word power, power has to do with the capacity of a person to influence. You being able to have effect on the person. But when it comes to authority, the legitimate power, that one, the constitution or the law or the office of the person has given that person the power, that authority to act. But it may not be going well or moving well with the other people. So somebody who is a leader should rather operate in power, have the ability, the influence on your people so that they become part of you. And power also has to do with the ability to control and to direct. And power is also a trait from knowledge and experience. So you cannot have power if you are not the one who is not ready to learn, who is not ready to read, who is not ready to get additional information to help yourself. With additional information, when you speak to the people on situation, they know that no, you are not ignorant. So you can easily convince them to move them along. But when you are using authority, because maybe you are the assembly member or because you have been voted for as a convener of the unit committee, and you think, no, that office gives you authority, so you can impose certain decision on the people. Your imposition of certain decision on the people will not mean that they are going to obey and flow with you. But when you have the expertise, you can move them along. And power is formal, is legitimate. Authority is formal and legitimate, but power is not. And finally, we look at both power and authority can end. But authority can end faster than power. Let's say you are in a community, you are not the assembly member, but you have educated yourself and put yourself in a position, and the people trust you. You go to some communities, there are assembled or elected people, but the community, the elders and the chief prefer using community members who have not even been elected, because they know that they have influence on the people and they can make impact. With authority, it's 4 years. And when the 4 years come and the people don't give you their vote again, it's ended. Both can end, but one can end faster than the other, which is authority. Then we quickly look at the bureaucratic type of leadership. Everything must pass to a stage, it must move. When you go to our VRCC and the district assembly, sometimes one letter can take you 1 month before you get a reply. And some of those things, maybe you just need a reply in 3 days to take a decision. The letter will be in record for 1 week before it goes to the chief director's office. And when it comes from the chief director's office, you'll be surprised that the one who's supposed to act on the letter, after 3 weeks have not seen the letter. Bureaucratic leadership, even though it helps to make things formal, nobody can jump the system or take advantage of the system, but it always causes a very delay in all that we want to do. So looking at the military as an example, try to have a program with our regional command here. When you send the letter, they will tell you the letter, truly, they have received it. The regimental sergeant major, which is the RSM, will have to forward the letter to Accra for the chief of defense to read the letter and take decision and report back to Ho before they will even allow you to have a program with them. So sometimes a program that should take place within 2 weeks before the letter will come back, giving you a date for you to have the program. It's almost a month plus. So bureaucratic leadership, the military is one example of a very bureaucratic leadership that we have. They are good, they are structured, things are done in a way that it should be done. But because of the delay and the very slow nature, things happen in that leadership style. Then we look at the laissez-faire. Everybody can do whatever you want to do. The leader is relaxed, gives everybody opportunity. What you want to do for the benefit of the organization, do it. But we know with little supervision, and human being is such that the moment there is no supervision, we tend to be lazy. And this has been the major problem we have seen in our public schools. Sometimes you look at the results from our BEC, and you notice some of the private schools that have SS leavers who have not even, who did not even pass well at their WASI, are teaching those children and they are getting better grades. But we come to the public school with MA, master holders, first degree diploma, and their students keep performing low just because there is this laissez-faire attitude at the leadership. Whatever you want, do it. Unless maybe there is a security supervisor coming, you don't see that energy among the teachers. So this kind of laissez-faire helps people to grow. But it's also when supervision is low and there is laziness among the people, the system becomes highly corrupt because leadership strength is not being seen. Then we run quickly to a visionary leader, and a leader who always ensures that his plans, his visions for the future become reality. He's always doing effort that what he wants to achieve. He's always seeing into the future, the next 5-10 years. This thing, if you don't do anything about it now, the next 5, 10 years, what will happen? Those kinds of leadership we need to be able to plan ahead to avert certain challenges we are having currently. If a leader is just a short-term leader, he always see today when he starts and there is problem. And as a country, you'll be surprised. We do major policies without even putting those major policies through a stage to be able to test it and see if it will work. We just rush in doing it. Those are lack of visionary leaders who don't see into the future and plan well. And any visionary leader, you see the word creativity in whatever he does. You see optimism. He's ready, sees the future bright, and always preparing towards a bright future. And he's always inspired, ready with energy to move on and to do great things. And the boldness is there. He takes decisions that others will not take. In Ghana, we have had decisions taken by some of our presidents. I remember one said he will put his office on the line just because he have seen that, the training school, the training teachers and nurses allowance is not paying again. He want them to take loan. He's ready to lose his office. Another one, and he lost his office too. And another one also came, no, he's putting his office on the line against issues of galamsey. That is a bold decision. But unfortunately, that one went and won, but the other one lost. So leaders must be bold in their decision that they want to take. Then we'll look at the charismatic leaders with charisma. When we're talking about charisma, we are talking about gifts of grace. And sometimes the issue of charisma, you can't do anything about it. Let me use two of our former leaders as a scenario. Nkrumah was in prison but won an election. And Jerry John Rawlings was also in prison at the time that there is a decision to execute him, pass judgment on him. His friends mobilized, took him out of the prison. Somebody in prison who don't even know what is happening is rescued, then he is asked to become the head of state. The question is, who led his removal? Why not that person becoming the head of state? Which is telling you there is something in the person. That is a gift of God. That the people around say, no, if this one leads us, we can do well. So there are people in our community, they are naturally gifted. They are charismatic leaders. They are people whom God has endowed with those kind of gifts. And our duty is to just rally around them to help them. When you see the charismatic leaders, you see that they are strong communicators. They have that skill. They want to move on. They want to do something. And the charm around, maybe their look alone will get you attracted to them. Or when they are talking, that voice alone wants you to be part of them. I want us to look at a few. This should have been a discussion stage. Discussion of all that we are doing. But because of the time, I'm trying to speed up a little so that at least when we get the slide, with a little online search, looking at exemplifying or people who are exemplary transformational leaders. I saw this man, the first president and the head of state of the Republic of Ghana, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, is a transformational leader to me. As a bringing to our local setup, Toby Afeda is one transformational leader I've seen. Somebody working around people to make people have meaningful, like with some of the investment all over the place, with some of the companies. To me, I see him as some of those leaders we should want to follow after them. Our regional minister is also one exemplary, transformational leader I've seen. Looking at some of the businesses he have in town, at least, if not, about 200 people would have been unemployed without his initiative to do something. There are people who are rich. Recently, somebody had over 1 million Ghana in his room, which he have not even invested to change anybody's life. But some have not got that money, but they are still making changes in people's life. When we see the Tobinco man, his companies and other things, people he's helping, people who don't have anywhere to go, he's putting them on salary, people who cannot even pay their medical bill. You see that these are leaders who are making impact in people, who are bringing people very close. When you see Kwame Despite, he's also one transformational leader I have noticed with his group of companies and also some of the activities he is doing to make a change. And we have our own Brother Courage also. He's also starting doing things, bringing the youth together to empower them for what? So that there will be a change. These are all people who are transformed. They are doing something to bring change to the next generation. When we look at an exemplary charismatic leader, I still checking online. The man in Nkrumah still pop up. Somebody that the whole Africa was voted as the millennium man. For 1,000 years, nobody have made an impact compared to him. He has been a charismatic leader. Our own old man, his way of doing things, and you see the charisma is there. It's also somebody I've noticed as a charismatic leader with servant leaders. Nkrumah, after his death, we didn't see or we didn't hear of any much property he have made. Looking at, I forget to even add the late Ivan Satamas. After he left office or after he died, we didn't see, oh, this man, his account and all that. No, we see that there are people who came to office to serve the people, not to make a wealth and make themselves big. And one servant leader I've also seen is Abraham Lincoln. Somebody became president and said, no, from today there is law. All slaves, from today you are no more slaves, you are free. Somebody will say, if you are not an African and you are voted for as a president, and people have invested in these slaves, and it has become money for them, why should you set them free? You can notice that this is somebody who wants to serve people and make impact and change in them. When you come to visionary, still, I saw this man, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, as somebody who has played a role. And also John Ivan Dramani, somebody who say, why him? Or why do we see him as a visionary leader? You can see certain decisions he took during his time of office with the aim of going ahead of time and solving problems ahead. That is a visionary leader, a leader who sees ahead and starts planning before the time reaches. Quickly, I want us to look at 10 strategies of an effective leader. Somebody who should recognize talent. If you are an effective leader, always you have to see talent around you. You have to see people you can bring together and make change in them and make them useful. You have to win the heart of the people. You can't be an exceptional leader if anywhere you get, everybody is angry because of maybe how you have frowned your face or certain attitude you keep exhibiting, making people not ready to have any alignment with you. You have to push the limit. People around you, you have to put some force to do extra. If today, let's assume you have a company and we can produce 10 bags of maize today, an exemplary leader, a leader who want to be effective should push his members, at least let's add 2. The next day, let's add 1. Production is being increased and you must lead by example. You can't be a leader who always say good, but you practice the vices. You are becoming a Pharisee. Do what I say, but don't do what I do. That one is not an effective leader, a behavior or a strategy of an effective leader. We have somebody who should have a compassionate heart. Leaders should always feel with the people and want to help do the needed change. And also, you have to build a trusted team of advisors around you. You can't be a leader and the people around you who you judge all with are people who are always, somebody will say the best way to be a good leader is always have people who are more intelligent than you in your inner circle. People who you can attract, you can get advice from in your inner circle. So always surround yourself with trusted advisors. That is one way that can make you very effective as a leader. Then having a clear vision, know what you want to do, having the charisma, enthusiasm to move on as a leader. These things, when you see it in the people, the ninth one talk about you should be educated, motivated, and also be able to delegate. You cannot be a leader and an effective leader. Currently, the world is going internet. And you are the type of leader you are not even ready to know. When they talk about social media, they talk about other social media handling. You don't even have an account with them. You are not ready to learn anything new. People are in their house. Through social media, they are selling their things and they are making money. And you will not use social media. You should always be ready to learn and also be an embodiment of passion for the mission. What you want to do, that one should always be a burning desire that you must do it and do it. I want us to look at three watchful words that every leader should always remember every day if you want to be effective. And one is the word perception. I want us to do something. There is, you can, if you are with your, we are doing just 3 exercises, then we'll end. Just draw a square on the sheet of paper you have. Then let's try to see if we can. The square you are drawing, I want you to try and see how many additional square we can get from that square. So draw a very good square, a little bigger, and let's see how many additional square we can get. Yes, we are doing this for just 30 seconds. 30 seconds. How many squares can you get from the square you have drawn? Have somebody got the number of square you can get so that we move on? How many square? Yes. How many square can you obtain in that square? You are drawing square, you are not drawing right angle. How many square? Somebody have got 5. Okay. Have somebody got another figure? Another figure? Only 5 square for now. Somebody have got 21. What about you? How many square are you able to obtain from this particular square? Somebody have got 16. Okay. Nobody have got 1 square. Nobody have got 1. Okay. So now let's find out the number of square we have gotten so that we move on. We have 5, we have 16, we have 21. Have somebody got more than 21 square? How many? 20. Okay. The question is, can we get more than 20 or 21 as the highest square? Okay, but why have people gotten 16? People gotten 5. I want us to look at the word perception. The number of square you see or obtain is determined by how many you want to see or obtain. Perception. That's what you want to obtain. That's how you see it. You go to certain communities, you see that there is richness there, but the people are poor. They have agreed to be poor. So they don't see how to turn those richness around them to be able to make any meaningful life. So the number of square you see determine how many you want to see. Because any box you have, any square you have, when you divide it by 4, you will still get another square. So you can still be getting square even above 1,000. But because we decide to see 20, 16, and 5, thank God nobody got only one. That is the square we have. And there is also another image here. I want you to see it at a glance and tell me what you have seen. Just see it at a glance and tell me what you see. What do you see? Two people to tell me what they see. The image is not that big. But you can still see something. Yes, the first person. What do you see? Yes, madam. Okay. Okay. You have seen three things. An old man bearded, another old man, and also a woman. What do you see again? At a glance, just look at it and just see one thing and tell me. Anything you see, you have seen well. So what do you see? There is another what? Somebody said there is another animal lying on the floor. Yes. So somebody saw an old man and a bearded man and a woman, and somebody have also seen a dog. Somebody can also see another thing. What do you see again? This is an embedded image. Looking at it at a glance, if you are not careful, what your attention pick is what you see. But when you look at it carefully, we have time, want to pick it one. We'll be seeing 9 different images there. Perception. What is perception? Perception is a way which the way in which something is regarded, understood, and interpreted. So always, as a leader, you have to be mindful of how you see things, how you find meaning to those things, and how you interpret them. If you see wrongly, you interpret it wrongly. So if one box or one square, we can obtain as much as 1,000 square, it's all depend on how we see. And also, it's the process which people select, organize, interpret, and retrieve and respond to information. The quality or accuracy of a person's perception has a major impact on their response. So if your perception or how you see the thing, let's look at, currently Ghana is having or passing through one major challenge. Our major challenge is we are almost divided on political line. So anything you see, somebody will see that thing with a political lens, and the interpretation is different. And it has gone to the level of, it has even corrupted into the chieftaincy institution. That our chiefs cannot stand as one for the benefit of their people. We are all divided in other lines. So it's a perception, how you see it. When your perception is corrupt, your perception is reduced because of one personality. How you were brought up. You see some men, the way they see women or the understanding of the female is another thing. And you come to our culture, you go to two people, one has given birth to a male, and another has given birth to a female. Mostly when you go to the one who has given birth to the male, what is the response from the visitor? What's the response? I come to your house, oh, your wife has given birth. And I ask, is it male or female? And he says it's a male. Can you remember? Somebody will say, oh, Ejiame. You go to certain cultures and you'll be surprised. So the one who has given birth to a female, what has he given birth to? So that's how our personality influence our perception. So you see certain men who don't have problem with a man beating the wife. Because the house he was brought up is normal there. So it's a perception. So if that perception is corrupt, psychological need, the level of education we have also affects how we see things. Somebody will see a challenge, as I said earlier, or you will see opportunity. And somebody will see a challenge and you will see an obstacle. Then the interest and the experience. I want to quickly run the last exercise I want us to do on being creative. The second watchword I want us to look at is being creative. I look at perception. I want us in 1 minute, please. I'm borrowing just 5 minutes to do this. Let's write an alphabet from A to Z on a sheet of paper, just 30 seconds. Where you reach, we'll stop. Let's see if we can get this one too. Being creative, just A to Z. When I get the first person, immediately we'll stop. The others will stop. The first person, 4 minutes more. Let's rush it quickly. The slides are many. But I think we are in the last part. Okay, we have 2 people done. Wow, okay. So let's do something. I want you to turn your paper. Turn the paper. And where you have written, I don't want you to be on that paper. So try and write. Where you have written, you just stop. Then now we are still writing the A, B, C, D, A to Z. But this time I want us to start from Z to A. Let me see the people finish in 30 seconds, if they can still finish. Z to A. Z to A. Somebody have catch. Wow. Faster than. How did you get it that quick? Yes. I love you. How did you get it? You started with Z. Okay, our sister did it in a very exceptional way. I want you to tell us how she did it.
So I started from A at the bottom, and then I continued to Z at the top. The same rhythm, A, B, C, D, but downward.
So you started from A down, in this order. A, B, C, in another order, and he was able to get it quick. But somebody will start Z, Y, X, and be thinking of the next one. So you have to start A, B, C, D after that, then you write. So being creative is one watchword we should always have as leaders. Always, we have to make sure we look for new ways of doing things. Then the last one, creativity is a mental process involving the generation of new idea and concept. You can't take creativity away from any good leader. Any good leader should see things and want to find a way to do it better. The first time, the process of creativity, we have having the idea, then sitting down to think about the idea, incubation period, then getting more information on how that idea can work. Then you move to the next stage, which is the implementation stage. Then you push the ideas to. Anytime you see a creative person, you see an achiever, you see somebody who is independent, somebody who is energetic, who is a dreamer, somebody who is tolerant, who is persistent, he wants to move on and do great things. Then the last one I want us to look at is think deep. This word is one word that is very important. I hope you have seen this before. The 9 dots. We are doing something, we are just drawing a straight line. We are drawing a straight line. Just draw the dot, the 9 dots in the form of a square. Then the rule is draw a 4 straight line linking all 9 dots without lifting the pen and without tracing the same line more than once. You are linking all 9 dots. But when you start, you will not leave the pen. The pen will be on the paper until you have 4 straight lines linking all the 4 dots. Is somebody true? You are linking all the 9 dots, but don't leave the pen. If you leave the pen, we will know. And you have to join all the dots. It's not possible. What you have done is not possible. Think deep. Our last aspect of the 3 watchful word. You have not joined all. All the dots to be joined. Let me see. No. There is no way you can link with just 4 lines with what you have done. There is no way. So let's look at it because of time. Before you can link all the 4 dots, if you don't go outside the box, you cannot link. Thinking outside the box. In leadership, if you don't think outside the box, there is no way you will succeed. If you're always thinking the normal way, thinking within the box is always a limitation. It will prevent you from. Opportunities are outside our domain, but mostly we want to find opportunities within us. And our problems are still there. We have not been able to solve it. So thinking outside the box is the only way. So if you take a stretch, if you are going this way and you don't move outside the lane to outside, there is no way you can join without tracing any line twice. So I want to end here that before you can become an exceptional leader, you always have to think outside the box. Because of time, I'm not be able to go into leadership and management, but we will have the slides. It's easy to understand. Thank you.